Mr. Neely, the question is for you, Mr. Neely. The first thing I want to say is that we are losing people in this state. We lost 115,000 people, and that is because of the high property taxes in a large degree. We obviously need a budget in this state, but let me make it clear, I favor a permanent freeze on property taxes, and I actually think we need to cut property taxes. We need to consolidate local governments. We have 7,000 local governments. But the thing I can't understand in your testimony is why won't you rely on the people in your area? Representative Batnick's bill, all the bills on property tax freeze allow for a referendum if in fact in your area they want to raise property taxes under the legislation that's being proposed by many of us. That actually could happen if the voters allow it. So what is your issue? What is your concern with allowing the people of the state of Illinois to decide what the property tax rates are?
Thank you. We have done that, quite frankly, and we just did it to raise taxes, to add on to our gyms. When we think about the people of Illinois, and I speak personally here, and I think about the dollars that the people in Morton, Illinois, send to the state of Illinois, and how little we get back, only 5% of the dollars. If we had a more equitable funding system, then maybe our homeowners in Morton, Illinois would be in a position that they could do the very thing that you've talked about.
That's how the legislation works. I appreciate if you answer the question. Because how the property tax freeze legislation works, in my legislation, Representative Batnick's legislation, there's a permanent freeze on property tax rates unless local voters approve an increase, and they have the ability to do that. What is your issue with giving citizens the ability to make that decision? That's a specific question. I understand you brought up before that you had taken things that have lost in the past. That's what your local constituents have decided. That's how this property tax freeze legislation works. Well, again, we're just killing people with property taxes in this state. We obviously need relief. And do you understand, I want to make sure you understand that that's how this legislation works, is while there would be a 4-year freeze under some legislation, which is a joke, by the way, that's way too short, especially if you trade it for a massive tax increase. That's a disaster for the citizens of this state. But what I want to make clear, and I want to just ask one more time, I want to make sure you understand the question, is the way the legislation works is that it allows local voters to approve an increase. Why are you opposed to that? Why not give your citizens the ability to make the decision? Why is that a problem?
And I would turn the question back to you and say, okay, what happens now when it's defeated?
So I'm going to answer your question because that's fair. You can ask me any questions you want today. Because the voters have decided it's not right. The citizens of the state of Illinois are sick and tired of these property taxes. So why do you have a problem allowing your local constituents to make that decision? That's what I don't understand, sir. I don't want to be combative. I'm just trying to understand why that's a problem. They've made that decision in that case. They've either voted for it or voted against it. But they should have that decision. And that's my point. So I
understand your point.
Okay. And I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.